that they've put together to help people who want to apply for the COVID hospitality grant. The SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center, is housed at Wilkes University. And this program is specifically meant for the CHIRP grant. So you'll be able to meet virtually with a consultant, live consultant, to answer any questions that you might have about the CHIRP grant and about how you can qualify. So thank you, Lucy, for joining us today.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm happy to be here. If I can answer any questions while I'm here, I will.
Thank you, Lucy. If anyone has any questions for Lucy, you can just put them in the chat box, or perhaps we can connect her at the end of the presentation. Oops. Okay, so we're going to go right now to our website. So I can show you how to navigate the website, how to find our application and the guidelines to the grant. So you'll go to carboncountychamber.org and you'll scroll down to this nice little icon here. Click on that, and that'll take you to this next page that shows COVID-19 resources and information. And scroll down and you will see that the CHIRP grant is right at the top. It has a basic outline of all of the qualifications that you will need to meet in order to qualify for this grant. We'll click here and go into the guidelines themselves. So guidelines are pretty straightforward. If you are a hospitality business and your NAICS codes, which is the North American Industry Classification System, if your NAICS code subsector number is 721, for food services, or 722 for drinking places, then you can qualify for this grant. Any other businesses do not qualify. So any of those businesses in Carbon County who fall into the NAICS codes described, you have to have been in operation on February 15th, 2020, paid income taxes to the federal and state government. You have to have a net worth of not more than 15 million. And of course, COVID-19 has had an adverse economic impact on your business. This grant has to be used to pay for COVID-19 related business expenses. Now, what would those expenses be? Operational expenses, such as rent, if you rent your space, mortgage, if you have to pay a mortgage, utility payments, those types of things are what qualify for funding under this grant. So that you also will only be eligible for one grant under this program. The minimum grant amount is $5,000. Maximum amount is $50,000 to cover those eligible expenses. And the grants will be made in increments of $5,000. So as we review these applications, we'll determine rounding up or down to $5,000 increments. All the supporting documents and the CHIRP application must be filled out, signed, and then submitted to our office. You can either scan it, sign everything. First of all, you have to download the application. It is not fillable online. So you would download the application, complete it, sign it, and then you can either scan it and email it along with all your documentation back to our office, or you can send it in the regular mail, or you can drop it off at our office between the hours of 8:30 and 4:30, Monday through Friday. The deadline for filing your application is Monday, May 31st at 4:30 p.m. So as we scroll down, a priority for approval will be given to those applicants who can show, even if they have a 50% reduction in gross revenue receipts, they will be given priority because they've been hammered even more so than some other businesses. But you must show at least a 25% reduction in revenue when you compare the same time period in 2019 to 2020. Now, if you didn't file your tax return for 2020 yet, that's okay. All we would need is an internal finance report prepared by your bookkeeper or your accountant that can show us your gross receipts for the year of 2020. So we'll scroll down a little bit further. This will show you more about your eligible operating expenses. Ineligible expenses are taxes collected, such as your sales tax, proceeds from transactions between the business and any foreign affiliates, those types of things. The application procedure here again tells you exactly what the procedure is. And then this shows you where the applications and your documentation can be submitted. If you have any questions as you're completing your application, you can contact me at my email, khenderson@carboncountychamber.org, or my direct line, 484-464-9576. And then Linda Rex is our assistant. She can also be contacted. And all of this information is on this, this paper. Alice Wanamaker also is on here as well. So those are the eligibility requirements. They're pretty straightforward. Like I said, if you have any questions on this, please reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer your questions. If we don't have the answers right away, we will be happy to find that out for you and get back to you. So next, we're going to go on to the application itself. Let's see if I can find it. Sorry. So we'll go back to the website and pull up the application itself. It's a pretty simple application. Oh, sorry. Come on. All right. I'm a newbie at sharing screens. Sorry. Here we go. All right. So here's the application itself. It is not fillable online. So you'll have to download the application, print it out, and then fill in everything. Please make it legible so I can read it. So I don't have to be trying to contact you and saying, I can't read this. So here you have your basic information, business contact information, other business information, the project itself. So that entails how much you're requesting and then what those funds will be covering. The expenses to be incurred after March 1st of 2020 to the present. We need a brief description, a narrative description of how COVID has impacted your business. And then also we need to know if you received any funding from any other program, such as the Paycheck Protection Program, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, the Pennsylvania Small Business Grant, or a Carbon County Small Business Grant that we had administered earlier in conjunction with the Carbon County Commissioners, or any other grants or programs that you might have received. If you received any funding from any of these programs, you cannot qualify for this CHIRP grant for those things that you already were funded for. If you have other items or other expenses and operational expenses that were not covered by any of these programs, then you can qualify for the CHIRP program for those expenses. We obviously need a copy of your 2019 and 2020 federal and state tax returns. And again, if you don't have those, if you did not file 2020 yet, that's okay. Just attach an accountant's prepared financial statement and we can look at that. We would also appreciate if you can justify and show us how you justify at least a 25% reduction in your gross revenue in those timeframes. That will help us quickly look at all the applications and get them processed. The way that the grant works is that it's going to be awarded on a rolling basis. What that means is that we are not going to be holding on to your application until, let's say, May 31st, which is the deadline, and then review everyone's application in a scoring situation, more, the most dire need to the least. We're going to be funding them as they come in. And so you're going to want to get your applications in as soon as you can. We will fund them up until we run out of money or until the deadline of May 31st, whichever comes first. We want to get this money out. And so if you know of someone else who was not able to attend this webinar today or has not heard of the CHIRP grant, please reach out to them and let them know about it and tell them to contact us or to go to our website and review the requirements and see if they can apply. We have the money and let's get it out there. So we were awarded, the county government was awarded $726,949 to give out to our businesses here in Carbon County. If we don't give it out, we have to give it back. So I really, and I know the commissioners will agree with me, we want to get this money out to help our businesses in our county. That is about all I have, really. It's a very short and sweet application process. We do have a few questions that came in prior to the program today, and I think I answered those questions, including if you receive money from the Paycheck Protection Program, will you qualify? Only those expenses that were not previously funded through the PPP program will qualify. Again, the same thing with the EIDL loan from the federal government. So if we have any other questions, Alice, I'm about done. If you want to take over and see if we have any questions in the chat. Otherwise, I thank you all for coming today, and hopefully we can help a lot of our businesses here in Carbon County to survive this pandemic.
Thank you so much, Kathy. We did have another question come in through the chat box during the program. The question was posed as to whether or not the office will be open on May 31st, as it is a federal holiday. Yes, the Carbon Chamber office will be open from 8:30 to 4:30 that day. Again, the application must be received by that 4:30 time period. So we appreciate that question. If you have need any assistance getting the application in, please don't hesitate to reach out to our office. Again, the number is 610-379-5000. We will definitely be happy to assist you. Kathy, I know one of the other questions we received prior to today's program was whether or not all of the receipts from items related to COVID-19 need to be included with the application.
Yes, that would certainly be a help to us. If you have receipts that you feel would be necessary to prove what your costs or expenses were for ordinary operating costs, such as a receipt for paying your rent or your utilities, by all means, you may send them in. Usually that will show up also on your financial reports, but if you want to include them with your application, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, our next question, Kathy, is if we applied previously for only $5,000 of our losses, may we apply again for the COVID Hospitality Industry Recovery Program grant?
If you had applied previously for losses and you were funded for those losses, you do not qualify for this program if those losses were funded within the same time frame of between March 1st of last year and the end of February of this year. Those, if you've already been funded, received funding for those losses, they do not qualify. That doesn't mean that you won't qualify for other items in operational costs, such as, like we said, mortgage or rent or utilities. So those items you would still be able to qualify for as long as you didn't already receive funding for them from another program.
Okay, great. Thank you for that answer, Kathy. Our next question is, do our expenses include things purchased to follow COVID guidelines, such as plexiglass, sanitizer, wipes, etc.?
That's a very good question. I have that question myself, and I have that out to the county's consultant, who is going to get back to me today with that answer. If I can have this person's contact information, I can get back to you and let you know for sure to confirm that. It doesn't specify in the Act 109 that I was able to find. It didn't specifically say those items that you had to purchase, such as face masks or gloves or plexiglass, that would be covered in this program. But I can find out that information and get it out to the participants here in the webinar.
So great question there. Again, one that Kathy herself is researching. Parts of this grant seem to be open to interpretation. So there is a lot of clarification. If you are running into issues, that's okay. We'll help find the answer for you. So thank you for that question. I don't have any other questions in the chat box at this time. If anyone else has them, you can certainly throw them in there. Again, we want to thank you for joining us today. Hopefully we've answered your questions. If anyone needs assistance printing out the application, please don't hesitate to call our office. We'll be happy to help you with that. You can stop in and grab a printed out application here at our office at 137 South Street in Lehighton. Again, Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. I did just have a question come in, Kathy. If gross revenue was down approximately $60,000, but only applied for $5,000, does that mean we cannot apply?
I'm sorry, run that one by me again, Alice. I'm sorry.
It's in the chat box, but the question is,
Oh.
our gross revenue was down approximately $60,000, but we only applied for $5,000 previously. Does that mean we cannot apply?
No, you can apply. It would be my opinion, I will clarify this for you, but it would be my opinion that you could still qualify for that remainder of monies that you did not already receive funding for. So that would be 55,000 or 20, you know, if it's, as long as it's 25% reduction in gross revenue, and you did not receive funding for that amount before, it would be my opinion that you would still qualify. But again, I will clarify that for you.
Great, thank you. I'm glad we could answer that question for you. If questions do pop up and you want to send them our way, again, Kathy's email address will be in the chat box. It's khenderson@carboncountychamber.org, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. I would like to thank the commissioners for allowing the program to be monitored here by the Carbon Chamber and Economic Development Corporation. We are very grateful to be able to bring this hospitality and restaurant industry grant to our businesses. To our audience, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us virtually today, and we hope that we answered all of your questions. Please be sure to sign up for our e-newsletter. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more information on upcoming events. Virtual information sessions like today will also be hosted in the future. On behalf of everyone here at the CCEDC, we hope you stay safe and healthy. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Take care.